The book opens at former President Biden's debate prep session at Camp David. It was just days before that first presidential debate. Ron Klain, who was the former chief of staff, who was leading his debate prep, told you that Biden was pretty clueless about the administration's positions on a number of key issues like inflation. He didn't know what Trump had been saying. In other words, he really wasn't up to speed on not only what was going on in the country, but his own administration's positions. Can you set the scene for us and tell us about Ron Klain's horror at this realization?
Yeah, Ron Klain, who was a really effective White House chief of staff, in my view, and I know something about the history of White House chiefs for the first 2 years, painted this devastating portrait of Biden at Camp David in the days immediately preceding that fateful debate. Biden was out of it. Klain was startled. He'd never seen him so exhausted and out of touch. He didn't appear to be aware of what was going on in the campaign vis-a-vis Trump. At one point, he wanders out of Aspen Lodge, the presidential cabin, goes to the pool, collapses into an armchair, and falls sound asleep. This was in the middle of a session they were having. Klain lured him back that night, and they continued. But he really couldn't articulate what he wanted to do in a second term. And this was fascinating to me. He was obsessed with foreign leaders and what foreign leaders thought of him. At one point, Klain said half jokingly, I wondered if he thought he was president of NATO instead of president of the US. He was obsessed with Macron, Emmanuel Macron of France, and Olaf Scholz of Germany. And he said, well, they think I'm a great president. I must be a great president. I could go on and on. But at another point, Biden said, I've got an idea. And Klain said, what's that? If I look perplexed on camera during the debate, people will think Trump's an idiot. To which Klain replied, sir, if you look perplexed, people are just going to think you're perplexed. And that's our problem in this race.